Washington was the state that officially had one of the very first few cases of confirmed positive coronavirus in the whole of the United States. One of the things that was also significant in the website was the demographics. If you look at the confirmed cases by age group, you will actually see that the ages between 20 to 39 account for a majority of the cases.
California was able to get this under control or flatten the curve initially, but later lost control in state infections.
One would think that if you have a stronger economy, you'd be able to withstand these economic effects better, right? And when you have a large economy, you also have more to lose. And perhaps, that is having a counter effect.
I'd like to get into it by the policy decisions that I saw. I would characterize them more as reactionary policy. So we get the first case in New York on March 1st. 4 days later, now cases are up to 1,374 cases. Crowd capacity can only be limited to 50 people. So we're freezing the debt that was owed to the people. Bills go out for job protection.
A lot of people did not do compliance, all that. And also, I believe there's a lot of mixed messaging, like from local officials, and there is a discrepancy between local officials and state officials. For example, if you go to the site of Florida, you will see that how the cases, the source of the cases, vast majority of the cases are unspecified. They are still under investigation.
This is the first of 30 pages in today's daily report. Throughout the reports, you'll see the statement reopening will be driven by public health data. This is something that state officials have repeatedly stressed. This type of transparency and data-driven approach is definitely very reassuring. They are considered to be one of the states in the best shape at the moment.
I mean, it's true that like young people tend to die less, or they most probably suffer less, but there are actually research to show that a good percentage of the people will suffer from long-term consequences due to the coronavirus. Just looking at the death rate, it's obviously a tragic metric, but it should not be the only metric if you think in the long run.
So if you just look at the color, it didn't change much. However, like the trick was that they changed the legend, they changed the scale, hide the numbers in the color so that it doesn't look bad. There was this anti-masking law because of the crimes of racial discrimination in Georgia. So like you cannot wear anything. And then as the cases were getting worse, the government has to lift this thing.
Unlike some of the Sunbelt states that sort of resisted implementing restrictions when cases were low, they were pretty aggressive in the beginning about implementing travel restrictions. So they were doing pretty well up until June, but then cases really started to surge in July and August. Needless to say, there was a lot of pressure to reopen the state. One might say, is the cure worse than the disease?
How I would summarize the story of Texas's response is like a slow, half-hearted lockdown followed by a fast, reckless reopening, and then they roll back into limbo in which there's a mask mandate, but there's not really clear action coming from the state government or local authorities. The mask mandate, even though it came late, I think it's the only clear decision that was taken that allowed Texas to come down from the peak of 14,000 cases per day.
The University of Arizona invented a device that seems to deliver the COVID-19 results in minutes. This is using a laser technology, but this haven't happened yet. It is going to happen this fall.
The onset was very early. It is the fourth state in the country to be issued a disaster declaration. People speculated that it was because of the Mardi Gras. The way that the government documented the cases as well as their methodology of testing is not consistent.
I have a question for everybody. Okay, there is a spike because there's a reopening and then you shut it down, it goes down, you reopen, again, spike again. So what's your prediction in December? Would you just keep seeing this ups and downs?
I would say there will be a resurgence. There will be a comeback. Well, studies have shown that this virus survived better in cold climate as well as low temperatures. It preserved better.
In the final class, if we revisit that timeline you created and see where you go by December and see if our predictions come true, it would be a fun exercise to try that.